Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Joe Show. I'm your host, Joseph Decker. I want to thank everybody already tuning in today, already early today. I know a lot of people were excited for today's episode. I had to get some really good guests on here so we could have some fun. Districts are kind of wrapping up right now. We're getting our district champions from every region, areas. So that's a lot of fun. Everybody in our show today are actually coming off a win in their district. So we'll be able to talk about that a little bit. Region draws are kind of starting to come out. People are kind of starting to see who they're playing. So that's got a lot of people excited. And it's just a really good time right now in Kentucky high school basketball. All of our guests today are going to have a lot to talk about. We got some questions. We want to talk to them all for about 7-8 minutes. For the coaches today, we'll talk to them about their teams, their players, their recent games, how they feel the season went. I know some guys have some preseason expectations and kind of goals to make. And then for the players, we'll kind of talk about the same things, but kind of talk about the impact they're making this year and just kind of allow them to talk about how they feel the season went. But with it being a new 5 weeks, we have new sponsors aboard. So I want to talk about our new show sponsors. Thank you, everybody who sponsored the show, of course. Clark Agritech Applicators, that is Cooper Clark out of Big Reedy, Kentucky. Thank you, Cooper, for sponsoring the show. Southbound Boutique in Stacy's on Main is a boutique in Cleveland, Kentucky. Thank you, Stacy, Alex, Shay, and Lauren for sponsoring the show. Charity Hall Bingo is the best bingo in Louisville, Kentucky. That's Troy Deaver, more in the Butler High School area. Grable Funeral Home, that is Roy Grable, longtime sponsor and supporter of the show. Roy, thank you so much. He's a big-time sports fan. I know he's probably watching the Western game right now, and then he'll be tuning on. And then our show sponsor, Detman Law Injury Lawyer, that is Brad. That's the man right there, man. Thank you for sponsoring the show again, being our show sponsor. He's been supporting the show for a long while now. He's been stepping beside us and kind of supporting it all the time. Brian Detman, and that is Detman Law Injury Lawyer. He will be presenting our Player of the Week today and kind of our top 10 team. So it should be a lot of fun. It should be a really good episode today. Once again, I want to thank everybody for tuning in early. Kind of expect these sponsor talks and a little intro to go a little longer than 2 minutes, but we kind of got that out of the way early. Our first guest today is going to be Coach Darren Breeze out of Adair County. We had him and a few of his guys on earlier preseason this year where we talked about the team, kind of got in the feelings, how everything went. They had a very fun little round. They had a little fun run last year in the state tournament where they had some good games. They got a win over Marshall County and battled Line County. And the team's one of the top teams in the 5th region right now. You can very well make the debate for number 1. But we're going to go ahead and get him on here, man, and we're going to talk a little bit all about Adair County basketball. Coach Breeze, welcome to the show, man. How you doing?
I'm doing well. How are you doing?
I'm doing great, man. It's good to have you back on here. Coach Breeze, I think a lot of people know this, one of my personal favorite coaches, man. This guy, he's electric. I mean, he's just pure energy. Coach Breeze, how you feel about the team this year, man? Going into the season, there was a lot of expectations, obviously, with last year and you guys winning the 5th and making a little bit of a state run, but you guys finished the season so far. Still got the postseason, of course, region play, but you guys are 27-5. You went undefeated in region. How do you feel about your season, man? What's some things that you were very impressed with?
I thought we started out, like you said, we had a lot of guys back, so I think I tried to play a different way. Their first couple, in the preseason, the first week or two, that kind of wasn't beneficiary to us, and it kind of burned us. We suffered a couple losses. We got beat, but we wasn't playing to our style, so we kind of just flipped back and playing kind of like we did last year, and just kind of went off of that. We've been pretty hot here since Christmas. Russell County beat us in the 2A, and then after that we've won 20 or 21 or something like that, and the only loss has been to Warren Central by 2 points. So I've been pretty pleased with it. I can see a lot of growth from this year compared to last year. Just we really hadn't played bad, I couldn't say, in a lot of our wins. We've played pretty well. Last year we might get by playing bad for a while, but this year we've been pretty consistent here the last 20 games.
Yeah, one thing we have to talk about, he was voted KABC 5th Region Player of the Year, and that's Connor Loy, man. Connor, to me, is one of the most impactful guards in the state. I think if you're looking for a point guard who contributes to winning, Connor's usually the first name on that list. Talk about how easy it is to have a guy like Connor on the team and, how you can kind of lean on him in moments and especially big-time moments. How good has he been this season for you, Coach?
He's been real good. Like I said, he averaged a lot of points as a sophomore, and he kind of changed his game a little bit last year. And, this year he's back up to about 20 a game. But the biggest thing with him is just the end of the games, is handling the basketball. You never feel like you're going to turn it over into the game. You always feel like you're either going to get a layup or he's going to draw a double team, and he's pretty good at being patient and making them get trapped and blowing out of it where we got a numbers advantage on the backside. I mean, for a high school, I know he's not going to be the highest recruited player in the state at the point guard position or so forth. But as a high school point guard, I'll take him against anybody.
Yeah, of course. And I've talked to a few college coaches, especially in the area, and they feel the way. He just impacts winning, man, so much. I think this is back-to-back seasons now leading the state in assists, which is a great feat to have. Coach, one thing I want to talk about, Isaiah Cochran this summer was injured. He dealt with that injury, so he had to sit out and miss some time. And a lot of people was kind of worried how he would come back, how he would play. But I would say he's had a pretty good season. 17 points a game, 7.5 rebounds, playing good basketball. How has he been since coming back from that injury? What's some things that he's done good?
Yeah, I was kind of listening last week. I think someone said that they thought that he didn't bounce back just quite as well. I mean, his numbers have improved from last year. His shooting percentage has. Now his assists have went down a little bit, and he is turning it over a little bit more. But here since February 1st, he's really improved on both of those as well. He's really shooting the ball a lot better this year. He's 6'6", 6'7". He's had multiple games where he's hit 4 or 5 threes, and rebounding the ball, he's rebounded a lot better this year. And most people know Isaiah. It's nothing. I'm not saying anything people don't know. He don't put his elbows up on the rim, but he's jumping a lot better here the last 2-3 weeks. All kids want to mess around after practice and stuff, but I've seen him mess around after practice doing dunks and just showing athleticism that I never thought that he probably had for another 2 or 3 years. So I mean, I would say he's definitely back 100%. And he, last year he'd be up and down every now and then. But once the tournament time gone on, he went into another gear, and so far he did that. He got MVP of the district, and hopefully he continues into the region and the state play.
Yeah, no, for sure. He was great last year at state, an instant eye catcher, I think, to a lot of people. And I was really excited to see what he had this summer. It just sucks, it kind of ended a little earlier than he wanted to. Coach, you're coming off that district championship, man. I know it has to feel good. It was against a really strong Taylor County team led by Davier White, Lakin Lions, a good coach team. Tell me about that game a little bit, man. It was a battle. It was a close game. What ended up being the, kind of the turning point that pulled the Indians out and got them the win there?
Well, we went up 10-11 at the start of the game, and it never really got it always stayed 8-13 most of the way. Every time we'd get up double digits and have a chance to go up 15 or 17, something would happen. We'd turn it over, or a call would go against us or something, and then they would get back in it. And they shot the ball really well in the third quarter. Kobe Colvin, probably not a name a lot of people familiar with outside the 5th region, but he really stepped up. He had 19 in that game, and then, like you said, Lions and White, they hit tough shots. And then also that freshman, they have Bryce Vernon. And like I said, Coach Kays does a real good job with their team. I think they've only had 5 losses coming into last night as well, and they've played a tough schedule. But like I said, we were pretty well in control of that game most of the way. I don't think we ever trailed throughout the game, but we ended up winning. I think the final tally was 3. But again, at the end, we had a couple mistakes where we didn't get the ball to Connor, and we turned the ball over a couple times. But when we got the ball to Connor, he kind of ran the clock down, and either we got a layup or free throws.
No, I mean, we kind of talked about it all season. The 5th region is great this year. I put it up there, in the top 5 regions. You could very argue, that it's higher. There's already 4 20-plus win teams. Central Hardin plays tonight. If they get the win, they'll be a 20-win team. Just kind of tell me about this 5th region, man, and how it is coaching against it, because it's loaded with talent. You and Greene County have been, a consistent top 15, top 20 team in the state this year, higher by many. Talk to me about this 5th region and just what makes it so strong this season.
Different. I think a lot of it's different styles that different teams can play. You got teams that can really shoot the ball, like Taylor County for one. LaRue County was, but obviously they got knocked out by Caverna. Then you got teams that are really athletic and can defend, like Caverna, like North Hardin. I should say Central Hardin. They're another team that really shoots the ball well. Bardstown really defends well. And then you got, like you said, Greene County. I mean, everybody's playing catch up with them. It seems like they got the name in the state. They're getting all the press, and rightfully so. They can shoot, defend. There ain't really nothing they can't do. 15 guys made the all region team. They had 3 made the all region, and then the 2 that didn't was the biggest kid in the region, and then arguably the top freshman in the region. Which, I mean, going on production, I don't know all the freshmen in the region. Everybody gets different amount of playing time, but based on production on a varsity level, their point guard. Cooper Stone, I think he probably had the best freshman season, obviously, of any freshman in the 5th region, unless I'm mistaken. So, I mean, they're definitely the top team. So the target's on their back, and we'll see if anybody can knock them off in 3 games at Marion County next week.
Yeah, of course, Coach. Coach, one last question for you, man. Going into this tournament, how do you feel about your team right now? What's some things you're looking to improve on before your first game? I know the draw is coming up, so you don't know who you're playing yet, but what's some things you're really going to be hammering in on practice and you're ready to get ready for region?
Marion County, I'd say about any coach in the fifth region to tell you, it's kind of a different place to shoot. Usually I never take advantage of going to shoot pre-tournament or however you want to word it, but we will at Marion County when they offer that up. I mean, the biggest thing is just defend and rebound. If we can defend and rebound, and one thing we did this year a lot, I don't really get into analytics or numbers a lot, but it seems like we shoot 55 to 60% almost every game. So that's telling me we're taking good shots. So as long as we can continue to do that, and like I said, if we can defend and rebound, just give teams one shot. Everybody's going to be a tough matchup. All 8 teams in the regional tournament can beat anybody. Like I said, Greene County's the favorite, so everybody's catching them. But I mean, also, I personally feel like that we can win 7 straight too. I think we can win the state tournament, or we could get beat the first game. But if we get beat, somebody's going to have to beat us. Like we won't beat ourselves.
Yeah. Well, Coach Breeze, it's always fun talking to you, man. I'm glad to have you back here on the show. It's always fun. Can't wait to go to the 5th region tournament and watch you all play, man. Thanks for hopping on the show. You have a good night. Thank you, Coach Breeze. That was Coach Breeze of Adair County. Always a fun guest, smart guy, really well with his words. The 5th region's been great this year, man. And if your favorite isn't Greene County, it's Adair. And a lot of people go back and forth. So to hear from him and how this season has been for Adair, 27-5, they were riding a 15-plus game win streak for a while. Ran into a really good Warren Central team, got in a battle at home. So just a great coach with a great team. And I always love talking to Coach Breeze. Glad he was able to come in despite, being out tonight. Our next guest is one of the highest recruited players in the state of Kentucky, man. He's got high major offers from some of the top schools in the whole United States. And, man, he's had a really good season, averaging 15 points and 7 rebounds. To start the year, Trinity scared some people. They had some rough losses. They were on a 6-game skid at one point. But the second half of the season, man, they've really turned it around, got some big wins. Recently beat Montgomery County. They had beaten Covcath. So some good wins to add to their resume. They're going into the 7th region tournament, looking pretty good right now, to be honest with you, and they're coming off a district championship. Let's talk to our guy, Jaden Johnson. Jaden, what's up, man? Welcome to the show. How you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing good, man. It's about time we get you on here, man. We've been talking about this a little bit, so it's about time. But how you doing, Jaden?
I'm doing good. I'm just happy to be on here with you.
Of course. I kind of hit it on a little bit. I like to get just straight in here. To start the season, there was some worries, man. You go on that little 6-game skid. You don't have the best KOB. You guys lose some game at the holiday tournament. But it kind of felt like after that, a switch flipped. I know you guys went on a 3-game winning streak, beat some good teams, had a really good LIT. A possession or 2 away from winning the LIT, really. So, what do you think it was that kind of flipped the switch for you guys? Was it coaching? Was it adjustments? Was it you guys just stepping up? What kind of happened in that Trinity locker room that just kind of changed things?
I honestly feel like it was just player led. Our seniors and I, all came together to figure out a plan for us to turn our season around because, as you know, yes, the start of our season was kind of rocky, but I feel like that's how good teams get better, because I feel like our team is probably the team that has gone through the most adversity the whole season out of the whole state. So I feel like that was a huge part of our season getting turned around and us now trying to play at the highest level now.
No, I 100% agree with you, Jaden, especially talking about, facing the most adversity. It's not been an easy season for you all at all, especially with, there's always going to be people eyes on Trinity, people talking. It's hard to beat the press sometimes, man. They're always going to be on you. But, Jaden, I want to talk about your recruitment a little bit, man, because you hold some really good offers, of course. But you're coming back home from a Purdue visit, and we all know going to the Mackey Center, going to Purdue is a fun experience, man. It's loud. Kind of tell me about how that visit went, and kind of tell me where you're at in your recruiting right now. Some schools talking to you, and how you're enjoying the recruiting process.
Yeah, the game at Purdue last night was amazing. Being able to go to that arena and see how the student base and the fan base all come together for that huge game, because, the student section was insane. It was from pretty much the court all the way up to the top behind, I think, both backboards.
Yeah.
So that was just an awesome experience to have, and great chance to talk to the coaches and go up there, see the facilities and everything and all that.
And then, we talk about your offers, man. I mean, it's some of the best mid majors. I mean, not mid majors, excuse me, best high majors around the states.
Right.
Some great SEC schools, Big Ten schools, man. Tell me about how fun this recruiting process has been, man, because it's not slowed down. You recently picked up the USC offer. How are you handling it? Because it can be a lot of pressure, managing the season, managing the coaches, things like that. How have you kind of experienced this recruiting process, and how are you enjoying it?
The recruit process is amazing. It's everything I could possibly wish for. Because growing up, this is all I've ever worked for. So just to have it now and to stay humble during everything is great. Because me, my family, Court 14, all of them, we all come together to help me get the schools that I want to go to and prepare me for the next level.
Yeah, well, I'm glad we shout out Core 14. Those are the guys, especially our guy Taylor. That's kind of our boss. So I had to show a little bit of love to them, man. But Jaden, the 7th region draw is out. We kind of know who's going to match up a little bit, and you guys got a fun matchup. I'll be honest with you. I've kind of been big on Cal this year. I like them as a team. Boogie Cook is a phenomenal young guy who's got sky high potential, and Jaden Washington, man, he can score on just about anybody. He's definitely one of the better matchups, better scores in the 7th region. Tell me about this matchup, how you feel about it, and how you feel about the draw you guys got.
I honestly feel like it's a great draw, all the way around, because it's all going to be great games at a high level, because 7th region, in my opinion, is the hardest region in the whole state. So these games is what everybody comes to see. And then us just playing Cal again, I mean, our mindset should be that they're coming out to end our season. So we have to do the same thing as last time and just kill all that the first half and then just keep playing the way that we're playing. Ever since we turned our season around, I feel like our losses have been like within a few points. So it's just about possessions and just playing smartly throughout the whole game and then just keep playing together. That's just really all it is.
Of course, man. Yeah, those losses, and it's like, while they might be single digits, they're two elite ranked basketball teams that's getting hot at the right time. So no real bad losses. And those are kind of the games that you learn from, and I think you need going into this region. So it's going to be a lot of fun. Jaden, you say it, a lot of people say it, the 7th region is the toughest region to many people in Kentucky. Why is that? Is it the style of play? Is it the talent? What kind of makes it so special, man? You know it firsthand because you play in it and you're one of the top guys in it.
I honestly feel like it's the style of play and the personnel, because at any given day, any team could be anybody, because it could be this person's night or that person's night. And then it's just the 7th region, the whole city comes out. It's going to be a crazy environment for every game. So there is no really quote unquote easy games during this little tournament going on. So I feel like that, and then it's a lot of players that are going to play on the college level or some sort of school at the next level. So just being able to play against those guys is like iron sharpens iron. So us playing against all these guys for the last 3-4 years, I mean, everybody's getting better, and that's why I honestly believe that the 7th region is the best region in the whole state.
No, I think you hit the nail on the head there talking about the personnel, just the guys. Every night it's like you're going up against a Division I level player or a high JUCO or someone who's going to be making a crazy impact at the next level. So, man, that's definitely not easy to play on. Jaden, we got to talk about one guy that you get to share the floor with. Julius Edmonds recently signed with Georgetown, man. The best NAIA in the country, man. Tell those Georgetown fans watching what they're getting in a guy like Julius, because, man, he's a great player. He's a great guy. And, there might be some people in the Georgetown community that's not familiar with him. You've got to share the floor with him, be one of his close friends. Tell me how special of a player in person Julius is and what Georgetown's getting.
Man, Georgetown's getting a great all-around person, kid, player. I mean, it's always on the court and off the court, because he takes care of all of his schooling. Then outside of school, he gets his workouts in early morning, late night, and all that. And then he's just a dog. He's never going to give up. He's always going to be there during the community and all that. So I feel like Georgetown's definitely getting a great player that'll be there for a minute and just develop and get better. So he's a great pickup for Georgetown.
Well, Jaden, I 100% agree with you, man. We've got to talk about how the teams kind of overcame some adversity. We got to talk about our guy, Julius. Your season, you touched on the recruiting a little bit, man. I know some more fun visits are going to be in the future. And the 7th region tournament is going to be a lot of fun, man. A lot of Trinity Shamrock fans tuning in. They got a large fan base, and they love the show. Jaden, say something to them before you hop off here.
Man, just come out and support us on Tuesday against Cal at home. Our last home game, so just try to make it fat and crazy so we can go out with a bang.
Of course. Jaden, I appreciate you coming on here, man. Sorry if I held you a little too long. We'll talk to you again soon.
Nah, y'all good. Appreciate you. Thanks for having me.
Of course. Thanks, Jaden, for hopping on. Jaden Johnson of Louisville Trinity hops on the show, man. Jaden having a really strong season this year. Trinity's been very good this year, doing the right things, getting back, getting better. It's always fun to talk to Jaden. Jaden's a great guy, great player, like I said, and he deserves everything he's getting. Our next guest is going to be Coach Jason Mays of Montgomery County, an absolute great coach. Really good friends of mine, Tice Jarvis, Caden Reed, have nothing but great things to say to me about Coach Mays. The job he's doing at Montgomery County. They just won their district against a very talented GRC team, which they had matched up with multiple times prior. We're going to talk to him a little bit about their season so far, how they've been playing, some of the guys on his roster, and how he feels going into this 10th region, because the 10th region is a region I continue to get more familiar with, and man, it's got some great teams. We heard Coach Cook out of GRC talk about it last week. So let's welcome on to the show Coach Jason Mays of Montgomery County. Coach Hayes, what's up, man?
Man, you're giving me nightmares. That picture, there you go. Yeah, picture of Jaden Johnson in front of me. He just wore us out last week.
Oh, yeah. Sorry, man. I had to switch that for a second. I think I had Breeze. I didn't even have his popped up. But
well, the kid you got on there right now wears me out too. His name's Caden Reed.
Well, I'll go ahead and I'll kind of make it easy. We'll talk about the first question. You mentioned Caden Reed. Let's talk about him, because it's like since he's came back, man, Montgomery County has been a completely different team. Caden Reed, I think his playing style and the way he plays basketball just leads to winning, man. Tell me what kind of makes him so special and how much easier it is to coach with him on the floor.
Well, it's always easy to coach when you have a dynamic point guard. Mm-hmm. It takes a lot of pressure off a coach. And for coaches who haven't had a dynamic point guard, they know exactly what I'm talking about. And I've been blessed as a high school coach to have two, not only Caden, but Colin Porter, who's now at Liberty in Conference USA. And it just makes your job easier. I mean, I have no problem saying that he takes a load off my shoulders, and I try to do the same for him. I think what he brings, though, is a moxie, some pizzazz that is truly unique to him, and that translates on the floor into leadership. Now, in the past, it's also translated into some emotion. But these kids, they all grow up, and I'm going to tell you something right now. I want to set the record straight. He is an unbelievable young man, and he has joy in his heart, and he is a ferocious competitor, and I absolutely love him. And most importantly, his teammates love him because he serves them first, and that's why he's become a leader.
Yeah, man, he's just been phenomenal. That's just something that, I could never really understand the people saying he's not a great teammate. He doesn't put the team first. Never, from the Caden I know, I could never really understand that. Coach, I want to talk about the George Rogers Clark game, the 40th District Championship. Mm-hmm. You guys have played them previously. You had that great triple overtime game, and then beforehand, it's like every time you guys had played George Rogers Clark, you guys were getting closer and closer. I feel like there were some times, in the triple overtime game, you guys could have pulled it out, but some things didn't go your way. What is something that you feel like you guys executed on differently here that you hadn't the 2 games prior against GRC?
When you play George Rogers Clark, the key is their point guard, Malachi Ashford. Mm-hmm. He's a tremendous player. And I think he's a really fine young man. They have, well, let me back up, Joe. Josh Cook has owned this. There's been some Campbell County years. I don't want to take that away. But in the last, 8 years, I'm getting my numbers loose here a little bit. He's owned this region. I mean, I took this job and I had no idea how dominant they were. But I think last night, Friday night or Thursday night when we won that game, I think that was his only second district loss
Yeah.
since he's been a head coach at GRC.
Wow.
And the first one was last year's regional tournament against Campbell when he lost Malachi to injury the night before. So, they deserve a lot of credit. He is a fantastic coach. He is one of the best, if not the best, coach in Kentucky, and they guard you. And so, but the key to the game was Malachi, and we just tried to disrupt him in various ways and keep him out of the lane, and that allowed us to keep them off rhythm. Where it took away some of their post entries, it took away some of their post touches. Now I'm sure they'll adjust if we ever play again, and we'll have to adjust to their adjustments, if you will. But that was the key, was just defense, and it was a defensive game. It was a possession by possession game. It was a great atmosphere. I consider myself blessed to be a part of that game. It was one of the better games of my career.
No, of course. I went back and I watched it, and man, it's always so fun to see you guys match up, especially you two on the sidelines, coaches going back and forth, going up against each other. It's a lot of fun. Coach, I want to talk about, a good friend of mine who's made, an immediate impact for you all. Great player, Tice Jarvis. When you talk about sophomores in Kentucky, he's always, one of the first names that comes to mind. 17 plus points, 7.5 rebounds for you guys. When Caden was out, a lot of the focus was on Tice and him being a player. So, how has Tice kind of grown, here at Montgomery County and improved as a player? And, what just makes him such a special guy? Like I kind of said about Caden, it's always a blessing and, a very big, relief off your shoulders having those guys on the floor.
Correct. So it's 2025, Joe, and you're a young guy, I think. Players are different today than they were. I'm almost 50, so players are different today, and not in a worse way, just different. And it's rare to see a player do what Tice has done this year. Let me tell you what I'm talking about. So, people don't understand how hard it was for us to coach and to win games without Caden, because every day he's in practice. And he's playing a dominant role in practice, and all of a sudden we would play a game, and he wasn't there.
Yeah.
So we were thrown off. What am I supposed to do? Not practicing? No, it was just awkward. So what Tice did in those games when we didn't have Caden, when he wasn't eligible, was he played point guard. And so what that did is that made him play a position he wasn't used to. It exposed some weaknesses to his game.
Yeah.
He was forced to be vulnerable as a player. He had to lead more than he had in the past as a sophomore, a young player. And he's going to look back on this year and some of the adversity that he had to go through. And he's going to look back and say, wow, it really helped me grow as a player. There's so many players that, it impacted his points per game, his rebounds, all in pretty much a negative fashion. There's so many players today that would have not have done that. They would have put themselves before the team, their stats before the wins of the team and the prosperity of the team. Yeah. And he didn't do that. He's just a pleasure to coach. Again, our teammates love him. We're very, connected as a team. And so I owe him a huge debt for the way he's handled this year and how selfless he's been.
Yeah. I want to kind of talk about a little bit, the 10th region draw came out. You guys have Harrison County, I believe. Coach Cook was on here last week, and, he talked about, the 10th region is a lot better than it gets the credit for. And one reason he said is just the styles of play and the way that these coaches coach. It's like every game, it's something different. I want to hear from you, because I think the 10th region is a very, very, very good region. And, what kind of makes it so difficult to coach in and go up against these great coaches, players? What is it in your opinion?
Well, just let's start with our district. You got to get by GRC. They're not too bad. It's either state champion in the last 4 years, state runner-up in the last 4 years. Great players.
Yeah.
And then you got Bourbon, who I'm telling you, Bourbon County, Coach Martin did a great job with them. They struggled some throughout the year, and he turned them around. And then you got Paris, which at any given year can be one of the more athletic, smaller schools in the state. whether it's football, basketball. It's a really proud culture there in Paris. They really love their Greyhounds, and so it's a neat district. It's a competitive district. In most years, three, if not all four teams can beat each other.
Mhm.
Now, the region. So this is my second year. So last year, we were 11-18. We flipped their record last year to this year. So I had to go around and take my butt kickings last year and learn the region.
Yeah.
Coach Souter at Campbell is a very smart, cerebral coach. His players play that way as well, and they got a great culture at Campbell County. And then you obviously have GRC. Those two teams are the teams that have set the standard. But you go Jason Henson at Augusta. Who's Augusta? Isn't that where George Clooney's from? They're
Yeah.
small. They got a lot of pride. Let me tell you something. Those guys prepare. They play hard. I watched Nicholas County and Harrison last night. Let me tell you something. Nicholas County, you're gonna have Spencer Morris on this show one time. The new first year young coach of Nicholas County next year probably, because you're going to see how good his team is.
Yeah.
They've got college level players on their team. They're good right now. They might be the second or third best team in our region right now today that no one knows about. And then it's just there's good coaching because there's good tradition. There's good heritage here. I mean, Lake Kelly, who was at Fleming County, he's one of the all-time great coaches, college or high school, to ever come out of this state. I mean, he was an assistant with Joby Hall, So, he's just, and then you got all the great coaches at Mason County and Guy Strong, Mike Wrights. I'm sure I'm forgetting some off the top of my head right here, but I mean, here at Montgomery County, Bart Risen, Happy Osborne, albeit for a year. I mean, Happy's one of the winningest coaches ever in small college basketball. So there's just been there's a great heritage of coaching in the 10th region. The 10th region is a very proud region, and I put our regional tournament up against any other regional tournament, Region 1 through Region 16.
Yeah.
Bar none. 10th region tournament is amazing.
Yeah. And when you talk about that tradition, they got to have great fan bases behind them. How good has the Montgomery County fan base been this year, Coach? How have they kind of, received this team and, kind of rallied behind you these last two seasons? How good has it been to have, a community and fan base like that behind you any step of the way, kind of?
Well, I recruited kids from here when I was a college coach, especially a young college coach at Georgetown College. We signed Billy Ray Fawns, recruited Ryan Steger. Had really good relationships with all the coaches here. And I was also graduated from Georgetown College, as did my wife. So we both had really a lot of friends that went to Georgetown College that were from Montgomery County. Mm-hmm. And so I've always had a connection to the community, usually through coaching or through college. And, when the discussion started coming about the job, I knew it was a close-knit community. So he's retired now, but one of my favorite high school coaches, and we're not great friends, we're just good friends, acquaintances more, if you will, is Mike Szabo at Trinity. Mm-hmm. And the year I was sitting out of basketball after I got fired at Ashland, I went to watch him practice a few times. And he told me something I'll never forget. He said, the best jobs in the state of Kentucky and he wasn't throwing shade on his job. Obviously, he was there for 2 decades. But he said the best jobs in the state of Kentucky are the large schools in the county where it's the only school in the county.
Yeah.
We have 4 elementary schools. We have 1 middle school that has almost 1,100 kids in it, all feed into one high school. Yeah. We're a 5A school when it comes to football classifications. And so this is one of those jobs that he was sort of detailing, and it's a sleeping giant. And the reason it's such a good job, it's got so much potential, is because people are starving to get back to the days. Now, we've only been to state tournament twice, 1995 and 2013, but people are starving to get back to the days where we were relevant.
Yeah.
In the 10th region, in our district, in the 10th region, and if you're relevant in the 10th region, you're relevant in the state. Yeah. We are turning that finally. We're not there yet, Joe, but we can see light at the end of this tunnel that we've been in for the last year and a half.
Yeah. You look at some things, obviously beginning of the season, you didn't have Caden, but what's some other things that you think this team has improved on that you're noticing, since the start of the season? Obviously, adding Caden back helps a lot, but between the other guys, Fawns, Gentry, what have they kind of stepped up? Andrew Terry, one of my other favorite guys. What's some things that this team has improved on, other than Caden Reed, that you're really starting to notice, vision?
Well, after GRC literally kicked our butts, the first game of the season at GRC, I think January 16th, we come back, get off the bus here at school, and I walk in the gym, and Dane Clutie, one of our seniors, see, we have 3 seniors this year, Dane Clutie, Ethan Dunn, and Caden. Dane, he's sitting in the gym on the bleacher by himself.
Yeah.
Gym's dark. And I said, what's wrong? I said, just bummed over the loss. And he's like, Coach, it's not that we haven't beat GRC. It's that we haven't won any big game.
Yeah.
And I was just like, wow. And I said, and so A, I realized I was putting too much pressure on our kids to beat GRC.
Yeah.
And B, okay, let's start changing how we look at competition.
Mm-hmm.
And so these guys have been beat down a little bit over the last few years and few seasons. And there's been good coaches here. It's nothing, it's just, it's been, sometimes it's a talent thing, sometimes it's just a chemistry thing, whatever. But I saw how connected we were, and we just have grinded the heck out of our guys defensively.
Yeah.
And we're finally starting to buy into our pressure, our half court man. I'm a firm believer, just like Lake Kelly, that the team is going to be left standing at the end of March. It's going to be the team that probably has the best half court man-to-man defense.
Yeah.
And our help side defense isn't there yet, but our ball pressure, our deny pressure, our chokes, where our rotations, we're getting pretty good. And that's been a big shift. I've struggled to get them to buy into that because it's hard playing that way. You get exposed playing that way. It's a risk reward thing, but once you taste some success, you don't want to do anything else but play pressure.
Yeah.
And then we're finally starting to screen a little bit better and execute a little bit better. We're starting to play inside out a little bit better, moving the ball from I call south back to north. And we're good in 3 things, Joe. One, when our 50 red is clicking, we hold people to 40% or less. All right.
Mm-hmm.
2, our pace, a quick inbounds, Caden changing speed in the middle third of the floor and trying to play 5-on-4 in some capacity or disadvantage basketball. When we do that, those 2 things are pretty good. The third thing is when the ball touches more than 3 people in a possession, we're shooting like 78%.
Yeah.
So we focus on those 3 things. We keep our focus small, aim small, miss small. And, that those things are starting to click for us.
Yeah. One thing I really want to talk, because we got a lot of college coaches from all levels that tune into the show, which I'm blessed to have. And, Caden Reed is one of those guys who, to me personally, I think he's a college level point guard. I think he can play at that next level. And, he's still got, a little bit longer of the season left. He's got, that, the April, May, make decisions and stuff. Why do you think some colleges should take, offer Caden Reed, give him those chances, invest in him as one of their future point guards, a part of their program? Why should they? You had the college experience being around it. Why should those colleges invest in Caden Reed?
All right, so let's talk about why they're not. Okay. First of all, he didn't get eligible until January 25th. So that causes a situation. It's his 3rd high school in 3 years. Am I saying that negatively? No, I'm good friends with his family. I coached against his dad, so I know the Reed family. The Reed family is a huge family.
Yeah.
They have 5 kids. They've adopted some more, and they share their hearts with everybody.
Yeah.
And they're proud, and they've done a great job raising great kids. Caden's not on this call tonight because he's celebrating his 8-year-old sister's birthday, because family's important to him. His dad was his coach. His dad didn't have a job anymore, and so obviously they transferred. One thing led to another. There's nothing bad. Caden didn't do anything wrong.
Yeah.
He didn't. And anybody at any of the previous schools will tell you that. That's not my words. Okay, that's facts.
Mm-hmm.
So, we get a kid and we have to go through the KHSA protocol, and we get it. So we're patient, and we got him. So then we're making the best out of it. So the situation that has led up to him being eligible late is why he's not been recruited. Second reason, okay, you see a kid, he's 5'9". All right, he weighs 162 pounds. I get it. So here's the deal. Colleges aren't recruiting high school kids anymore. All right. They're recruiting 4- and 5-star guys.
Yeah.
All right. They're recruiting NIL signing bonus guys, but they're not recruiting. They're not recruiting the guy that's the 5th best team on the Kentucky All-Star team anymore at a high school. Those guys aren't getting recruited. So it's a great time to be a Division II or Division III college basketball coach, because you can still go get those kids that 5 years ago you couldn't get.
Mhm.
And or, NAI, it's Georgetown College. Coach Briggs, he signed a kid at Trinity. That kid's a beast,
Yeah.
And so and they got they got another guard too. That's a good player. So those schools, and maybe that's what Caden does. And then we're talking to schools like that.
Yeah.
But I'm also talking to some low major Division I schools too that maybe want to take a chance on him. Maybe
Yeah.
junior college is the best option for him, especially if they pass that new rule, Joe, where
Yeah.
you can go a year or two at JUCO and still have 4 years of college eligibility.
Oh,
Well, that
for
would be ideal for Caden
Yeah.
potentially. So we're gonna, his parents, they trust me. Caden trusts me, and we're going to make the best decision for Caden. We're not going to panic. And this week there's going to be a lot of video going out on him,
Mhm.
highlighting what he's done the last 11 or 12 games.
Yeah.
I have no question that he's going to get his college paid for because of a God-given ability to bounce and shoot and pass a basketball. So
Yeah.
it's going to happen for him. It just recruiting is different today, man. It's fluid, and the thing you can't do is panic.
Yeah. Well, Coach, it's been a lot of fun having you on here. I think I told you, when you first joined, I would only hold you about 7 minutes, and I think we've probably talked, well over 10, maybe 15. But I'm not done just yet. I want to ask you one question. The 10th region draw came out. Kind of looking at the bracket. What's some things you noticed? How do you feel about, the region bracket right now, and some things that kind of jump off and catch your eye?
It's so fun to talk about brackets, isn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, bracketology. It's got its own
Yeah.
word in the dictionary now.
Yeah.
Let me tell you something. We're worried about Harrison County and Harrison County thoroughbreds only. Period.
Yeah.
End of discussion. We're hosting the region this year. We're proud to do that. Our program has a mission statement of confidence, composure, and class. So we're going to host the region with that mission statement in mind. Okay, we're going to do a great job. We had meetings yesterday and today, and we're working really hard. Our community's buying into this. We're excited to host and put the 10th region on a stage. Okay, got very supportive admin and AD. I mean, it's just great. But I'm worried about Harrison County on March 10th at 6:00. And I don't mean to be coachy, but that's just how my mind works. That's how I want my players thinking. The way the calendar of the regional tournaments this year is different because of the NCAA tournament at Rupp and how the state tournament is not starting until the 26th.
Yeah.
And so usually, Joe, I would be able to give you a different answer when I knew that the second round game, if we won, is going to be a day or two after the first round game. Well, no, we got another 7 days.
Yeah.
So I got plenty of time to worry about round two if we win in round one. So I'm going to tell you, answer your question. I saw Harrison County play last night. They got good size. They have strong guards. They're going to zone us. I've seen a lot of film on them, and they're going to give us their best effort, and we better be ready. As far as the rest of the bracket, I don't care.
Coach Mays, it's been a lot of fun having you on here, man. It's like we could probably talk for another 30 minutes and we wouldn't get bored, but I won't hold you too much longer. A lot of Montgomery fans tune into the show. A lot of them's big-time fans with us having Tice on in the past. Say something for the Montgomery fans tuning in, and I won't hold you much longer.
Our players play for you.
Coach Mays, it's been a lot of fun. Thanks for coming on, man. We'll talk again soon. That was Coach Jason Mays of Montgomery County, having a great season, man. He's been a lot of fun. And our next guest is a lot of fun as well. He's been catching the Kentucky, the whole state by storm. You see his numbers there at the bottom. We've not got to talk to him yet this year. Bowling Green's coming off the 14th district champ. They just beat Warren Central last night, and off a crazy shot. We'll talk to Luke about it a little bit. But let's welcome Luke onto the show. Luke, what's up, man? How you doing?
What's up? How you doing? Thanks for having me on.
No problem. Luke, last night, crazy. Electric game. Braylon Banks, one of the best shots of the season so far. You guys win 61-59 against that Warren Central team. They were without Armani Bird, but, man, they're still a really, really strong team. You guys had played them previously, not getting a win over them yet. What do you think it was yesterday, man? What kind of got you all over the edge and, played them the best you all have so far?
For sure. I think that we started off a little slower in the first half, and that third quarter run we made just gave us all the momentum, I think, leading into the game. And going into halftime, I think we were down around 6 points, but we knew if we just kept playing our game, kept moving the ball, that we'd get on a run, and that's what we did. And yeah, as you said, Braylon Banks, huge shot. He's been good for us all year, and I'm glad we got that win. Central's definitely a really good team.
And, when you have Warren Central and Bowling Green, they match up in the district. It feels like every year they're going to end up matching up again. So, you kind of look toward the future. That'll be some fun. But, Luke, great season so far, man. Numbers-wise, there's not been a better shooter in the state of Kentucky. You've done everything you can to claim that name of the best shooter in the state of Kentucky so far, but your game has a lot more to offer. For some of those people out there watching the show that's not familiar with Luke Idlett and what he is and him as a player, go ahead and tell them and let those people know.
Yes, sir. Yeah, this year's been a good shooting year for me. You got to thank my teammates for that, finding me when I'm open and finding me when I'm hot. But I feel a lot of people just look at me as a knockdown shooter, catch and shoot guy. But this year I've trying to expanded my role and just show people I'm not just a shooter. I can get downhill, make smart plays with the ball in my hands, and that's what I've been working on this summer and then this season too.
Of course. And, Bowling Green has had a pretty fun season. There was a little bit of a time, a little patch where there was some people were saying things were going on in the locker room and, games were a little too close and, you guys took a loss. But, the Woodford County loss that people talked about, it's off a last second game winner, that barely happened. So I would say Bowling Green has had a very good season, especially if you look numbers wise, 25-6 guys are playing really good. You guys have went on the road, won some big games. You guys went to Pigeon Forge, won a tournament. I'm sure that was a fun one to be a part of. But, kind of tell me what makes this Bowling Green team special. There's a lot of guys on this roster. You guys are a deep team for sure. I'll say a little bit of what I know. Deuce Bailey, Orlando Davis, Caden Carpenter, those guys will guard any other guard in the state of Kentucky, and they'll give them a run for their money. Joe Hurt, coming in from Fairdale, has been amazing. He's been a really good player. And then you got Luke, who's going to knock down 15 points a game and probably hit 4 or 5 threes. So, what kind of makes this Bowling Green team so special, and what's kind of made it a joy, to spend your senior season playing with them? And, you guys are winning so far. Obviously job's not finished yet, but what's just made this team so special?
Like you said, we've been through ups and downs this season. Getting guys back from football late kind of hurt us a little bit at the start of the year. And, I feel like we're a really special team and group of guys because we have 5 guards, 6 guards that can all score, all dribble. We're electric. I feel like shooting the ball at a very high level. I think we're one of the top percentages in the state right now. And like you said, we have Deuce and Caden. They'll go, and Orlando. They'll guard anyone on the court. We give them the tough matchups to guard the other team's best player, and any given night could be anyone's best game. Like you saw last night, Braylon hit the big shot, but I think Coach Sherrill, we were on a talk show and he mentioned that there's been 7 different guys that have led us in scoring during the course of the year. So, we have a bunch of dudes that can really handle it, really score, and we're looking forward for the postseason.
Yeah, of course. The 4th region draw came out. You guys will play Glasgow first at EA Diddle. EA Diddle is always really fun to have it. The people show out, the fans do. And, a lot of people really didn't expect Glasgow to even make it out of the first round of district. And to see them, make it to the district championship, battle Barron County, who had their number already. They're an impressive team, for 5-6 wins. They're a lot better than they give credit for. Have you guys kind of started looking into Glasgow at all? I know the brackets kind of just came out, but, tell me about that game coming up. Anything about it? How excited are you to play at Diddle, open up this 4th region tournament?
Yes, sir. It's a blast to play at Diddle Arena. That crowd and that stadium's electric for that regional tournament. And we can't look past Glasgow. They might have like 6 wins on the year, but they're a really electric team. They can get hot at the right time, and we played them early on in the year. I think we beat them pretty good, but they're a good team. A couple really good guards, and Jarek he didn't play last time we played them.
Yeah.
So he'll be a tough match for us, for sure.
No, he's definitely one of those impact guys for sure. Keep going though.
We're looking forward to them. Just seeing what defense they're gonna play us, and then getting ready for them after that. But we're not looking past them for sure.
Mm-hmm. No, you guys, we looked about it. We kind of just talked about it. This season it's had up and downs. So like we talked about, the record's good. You guys have some big wins over some really good teams. You're one shot away from knocking down a Woodford County team led by our Mello Boone. But, you go on the road to Woodford County, a little bit of a drive, and you beat Ashland Blazer, who has one of the top players in the state of Kentucky, and Xander Carter. Great basketball team. You guys have dealt with that adversity, you know, traveling on the road, playing these tough teams. You know, how have you guys kind of handled the schedule, you know, going into the season? Did you guys kind of expect to be where you are now? Did you expect a little more, maybe, you know, did you maybe expect to be, you know, maybe only a 20-win team? You know, would you say you have met the expectations with the schedule you all have had?
I feel like we've definitely met the expectations. We're a group full of seniors. I think we have 6 seniors, and you know, that's our goal coming into the year was putting the state on notice, because the last couple of years haven't gone our way in the regional championship, I would say. And you know, I feel like we've definitely met our expectations. Our schedule's been really hard, and we beat some good teams.
Yeah.
And yeah, that win against Ashland was pretty big for us.
Yeah.
Big momentum booster for sure, because Xander, you know, he's a really good player. But you know, that Woodford game, that was tough. We wanted that one. That buzzer beater was tough, but I feel like we definitely met our expectations this year.
Yeah, you know, out of your last 6 games, you guys have won 5. You're kind of getting going at the right time. The 4th region tournament knocking at the door, like we said. We've seen the bracket come out. Coach Mays hit it perfectly. Bracket time is fun. You know, I'll probably be off stream making some brackets, filling in these who I think will win games. But the 4th region this year, I think, has been kind of underrated at times. A lot of people kind of say it's between 3 teams: you all, Clinton County, and Warren Central. But, you know, tell me about this 4th region a little bit, kind of what makes it special, and, you know, what makes it such a fun region to play in, but also kind of not fun, you know, playing up against some of these great talents. You know, just tell me about the 4th region and give me a little overview if someone was asking you about the 4th.
You know, I think the 4th region puts on for a lot of other regions. There are a lot of good teams. Like you said, Clinton County came on the scene this year, and I think they've only lost a couple games.
Yeah.
But so you can't just think about it as a Bowling Green or Central region. There's a lot of teams, and I would say our district too is really tough this year. Greenwood and South Warren, they could beat anyone on any given night. I think we beat them once in the year, South and Greenwood, by like less than double digits. So you know, our district in the 4th region is really a tough one this year.
No, and you talk about that. You know, Greenwood is going to play their best game of the season every year against Bowling Green, and it's not going to be an easy one to come out of. They could have 2 wins on the season, and it's going to be a battle, Luke. You know, you talk about it, you know, South and Greenwood might be in a different district. They're probably playing in region right now, but it's just hard to get through, you know, Bowling Green and then Warren Central. So, Luke, I appreciate you coming on here tonight, man. And I know your dad's tuning in, Matt. Love Matt. Great talking to him. But a lot of Bowling Green Purples fans are tuning in. You know, they're ready for region. They're probably still partying and still pretty excited over the win last night. But say something to the Purples fans tuning in. You're actually the first guest I've had so far since Turner Buttry to be either from Bowling Green or played at Bowling Green. So show some support and talk to those fans tuning in from Purples Nation.
I would just say it's been a fun ride for our senior year, and just come out and support for regional tournament. And we want to end our season in Rupp Arena. So that's the goal.
Yeah, it feels like it's about time to see the Purples back at Rupp Arena. So now would be the time. Luke, having a great season, man. I expect it to carry on into region. Thanks for hopping on the show tonight, Luke.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, we'll talk again soon, Luke. Appreciate you. Luke Odlett comes on from Bowling Green to talk about Bowling Green season so far. Man, it's been a lot of fun, man. It really has been a lot of fun. You know, their record's really, really good, but they've dealt with some ups and downs. Things have happened. Some guys, you know, coming in late from football. Some people might be unhappy, but, you know, Bowling Green's getting going at the right time. They've won 5 of their last 6. They take down, you know, Warren Central, you know, without Armani Bird, but, man, that's still such a talented team led by D1, you know, prospect Bellarmine Sawney and McBee. So you got to show them some love, man. Detman Law Injury Lawyer always presents Player of the Week, and we got our Player of the Week about to hop on the show. I see him behind the scenes getting ready. We're going to talk to him a little bit. You know, he's coming off a district win last night. That's one thing I said. You know, everybody on today's show won their district last night, so we can celebrate a little bit with them. But, you know, let's go ahead and welcome on our Detman Law Injury Player of the Week, Jack Loxton. In the last 3 games, Jack Loxton, 23.5 points, great efficiency, 8.5 rebounds. They've won their last 3 games, which is always a perk. But, you know, last night, this guy was the best player on the floor. They played Butler County. Great district championship game. It was you know, a lot closer at times than the score said. It was a lot, you know, larger of a lead than it said at times. But Jack played great, man. 25 points, 14 rebounds, multiple blocks. He's getting it going at the right time. Grayson County, Kentucky looks to be making their run again. You know, it looks like we could see him at Rupp. They're getting going at the right time. Jack, what's up, man? Welcome on to the show. How you doing, bro?
What's up, Joseph? I'm doing good. How you doing?
I'm doing good, Jack. I think you've been on the show 2 times before now. So, this isn't your first time, so it should be a lot of fun. But, Jack, kind of tell me about that game last night, because you go into that district championship game kind of viewing that you two are, we kind of been saying it all year, 2 of the 4 best teams in the whole region. So, it's going to be a battle. It's going to be fun. It's going to be packed. That crowd was crazy. But kind of tell me how you guys viewed that game coming in, because at times it kind of looked like you guys were playing it with like nothing to lose. Grayson County, you guys were hype, getting loud. I think Brody Armstrong said he was the best shooter in the state 3 or 4 times. So you guys are really excited. Things was going good. How did you guys kind of go into that game and game plan Butler, for that district championship?
Well, we really went into the game like we had nothing to lose.
Yeah.
We're playing the team that won the region last year. So we just went out there, played with energy, and got the dub.
Yeah, no, Jack, your name has been a hot topic around the state. A lot of people starting to get familiar with Jack. Sometimes down here in Grayson County, it can go by some people's names, but Jack's having a great season. There's a reason these D1 schools are looking into Jack, throwing offers and talking to him. But last night, man, it was probably, I would say, one of your better games you've played in your career. I know you like your games with 35, 30, maybe pushing 40, but no, you were the best rebounder on the floor. You really kept them in the game, defensively at times. It was just a great all-around game from you. How do you feel going into this region, the way you're playing right now, and not just how you're playing, but these guys around you, Brody, Spencer? How you feel going into region?
I feel really good. I feel like we have a good shot to win it, especially how we playing right now. Like, we're all just playing good, all like getting together on the defensive end. We struggled with that a little bit this year, but it's coming together at the right time.
No, for sure, Jack. And one thing we got to talk about is we've seen the third region bracket come out this year, and you know how stacked and how good the third region is. These teams you're always going to have a matchup with like 2 of the best teams going against each other, and it sucks to see, but it's got to happen just because this region's so good. And you guys drew OCATH, and OCATH has been consistently one of the better, if not the best teams in the region all year. They're a little banged up right now, not with injuries, but some guys going through some things. They're coming off a loss to Davis County, but you guys played them earlier in the season. I know things didn't go your way, so you guys really know how good this Catholic team is. How do you feel about your draw and the way the region's kind of matched up the bracket-wise?
I think I like our draw. I mean, I feel like our team can beat anyone on any given night. Like, we just go out there and play how we do, and we can beat anyone really. And then we get past this game, and then I like our odds in the second game too, and then just match up with whoever in the championship.
Yeah. No, for sure. When you got Butler and Davis at the top, one of those teams have to go out too, and then one of you guys have to go out. So it's going to be a lot of fun. Whoever meets in the championship is going to be in for a big one. OCATH is not going to be an easy game, but I think it's going to be a lot of fun. You guys match up well. I think you guys have some strengths, things like that pair up pretty well. But once you kind of get past that game, it kind of looks like your easier games can be in the future. So that's definitely a good way to look at it. But Jack, I want to talk about one of your teammates, Brody Armstrong. I talked about him getting hype and getting really excited last night. A lot of people love Brody. A lot of people say he's one of the toughest players in the state. He's super, super underrated. One of the better juniors in the state of Kentucky right now. Tell me about Brody and being able to share the floor with him, because he's taking over this season.
Oh, Brody's a dog. I love playing with him. He can do everything. Like, anything you can ask for, he can do it. He can rebound. He guards the biggest dude on the floor most times.
Yeah.
He usually has the biggest dude guarding him, and he don't care. He'll take him in the post, score on him. He's awesome.
No, I got to hear from you, Jack, because, going into this season, there was high expectations for Grayson County. You guys, go out a little earlier than you wanted to last year. You guys kind of got to deal with that. So coming into the season, there was a chip on your all shoulder. I know you guys not really probably not slipped over that loss yet. It still probably pains you all at times, but I know the coaches were excited, the players were excited, and everybody was ready for this season. We talk about Jack, Spencer, Brody being the big 3 a lot of times, but this team all around is very, very talented. Caden Hanshaw, Zach Bratcher, Hayden Robinson. I feel like you've got the Landon Haycraft. You've got those guys around you all, around the top scorers that just do everything well. Very good complementary players, knock down shots, play defense. Tell me about some of the guys on this roster and, how much easier it is to play a game with these guys around you.
It's awesome because, like, no team can just focus on us 3 because all of our players can knock down open shots.
Mm-hmm.
And, like, they just help us all out, help me, Brody, and Spencer out a lot.
Yeah.
So
And I think you hit on that perfectly. You know, there are these guys around us. You know, Zach Bratcher just a few nights ago hits eight
Oh, yeah.
threes in a game, goes for 24. So you never know when he's going to go off. He's going to start getting it going. Jack, congrats. We had to give you that player of the week, man. You've been playing great right now. I expect it to keep going into the season. A lot of Grayson County Cougar fans tuning in. You know, that's where we're at. So we knew they're going to tune in and watch the show. Jack, say something to all those Cougar fans tuning in and watching the show tonight.
We going to Rupp. That's all I got to say.
Well, I know the expectations are hot. You guys are ready. You guys are excited. The season's been great so far. Definitely, if they're not the best, you know, they're right there in the talking for best teams in the region, 24-6. Jack, thanks for coming on again tonight, man. I know I caught you at a weird time where you were out tonight, but I appreciate you coming on and talking. We'll talk to you again soon and see you at region coming up.
Yes, sir. Thanks for having me.
Of course. See you, Jack. Jack Loxon hops onto the show to talk about the third region a little bit, talk about his season so far in Grayson County. Grayson's been really, really good, man, this year. You know, 24-6 record. They continue to get better every season. These guys are continuing to get older, more developed. You know, Jack has been playing varsity basketball since the guy was in 7th grade. So, you know, his numbers are great. He continues to get better. One of the best sophomores, in the state of Kentucky. He gets our player of the week this week, Detman Law injury, and Joseph Decker player of the week. But, man, he's coming off a great performance. You know, 25-14, multiple blocks, battling against that tough Butler County team, having a matchup at times with Ty Price, one of the better players in the state of Kentucky. You know, we talked about that. So it's never an easy matchup at all. So I want to thank Jack for coming on here, talking about all the guys that make this team special. A little biased to Grayson County at times, but they look like the favorite, especially coming off that Butler win to win the region. You can easily debate Davis County. Butler's still one of the favorites, Owensboro Catholic. Grayson's got some young talent too. Camden Sanders, Jackson Davis, multiple guys I want to hit on. They got some gritty guys that make things happen. Kyle Higdon's another guy. You get him in, he's going to play his best defense. This is just a really good all-around team. I know the Johnstons really want to win. Coach Ethan Meredith on the bench, Coach Hill, Coach Dustin. I know all these guys are excited for this year's season and how it's going so far. Kind of felt like going into that draw, Grayson County was going to pull Owensboro Catholic. It just kind of felt like it was what was expected, and it is what happens. So it's going to be a fun matchup. You know, the third region tournament happens pretty early this year. You know, Grayson County plays Owensboro Catholic in 5 days, Thursday at the Sports Center. So that matchup's coming up soon. It's going to be here in just a blink of an eye. And I know a lot of people are going to be tuning in to see it happening. So that's been all of our guests for today. I want to thank all of them for coming on. It's been a fun show so far. This is kind of what we call the After Dark show. It's where we kind of flip the script and we kind of go and we just talk. You know, we have certain topics we want to hit on. We want to talk around what's going on in the state of Kentucky. And, you know, we just want to talk straight basketball. I really appreciate our guests coming on today. Coach Breeze, Jaden Johnson, Coach Mays out of Montgomery County, Luke Adlet out of Bowling Green, and then last but not least, our player of the week, Jack Loxon from Grayson County, Kentucky. Thank you, Jack, for coming on again. But let's talk Kentucky high school basketball, man. District championships are winding up done. I think tonight was the last night of district championship games. There were some crazy ones. You know, there were some upsets. There were some teams that went out early. LaRue County, a team that kind of went out earlier than expected. Someone we talked about, you talked about Caverna going on a run that some people didn't really expect them to go on. They've dealt with some adversity this season, but they get a big win. That's just talking 5th region, but man, it's all over. Lyon County wins their 7th straight second region. I mean, there's 7th straight second region title in the district. Callaway County knocks out Marshall County again. That's multiple wins in a row now for Callaway over Marshall. Marshall was undefeated at one point. 2 of their losses, I think there are only 2 losses are handed by Callaway now. So Callaway kind of takes that throne as the favorite in the first. The 3rd region's getting fun. 4th region, Bowling Green goes over Warren Central last night. We know Warren Central without Armani Bird. How's that going to affect it down the line? How's that going to affect the way the game's played? It's definitely going to. But, you know, if there's one coach you can't really doubt, it's Coach William Unseld out of Warren Central. So he's going to make things. He's going to make adjustments. They're going to be back. Clinton County, I think, still disrespected and underrated by a lot of people. Cannon Young is one of the better players in the state of Kentucky, especially one of the better unsigned players. Coaches getting onto him. A lot of NAIs looking at him, you know, very, very well deserving. Great basketball player. 6th, 7th region, we know they're going to match up in the state tournament. Everybody's remembering that. but it's starting to heat up a little bit. J-Town, Butler wins their districts. PRP and Fairdale getting a battle. PRP comes out on top by 2. 7th region was fun. We've seen St. X beat Mill in that battle in their district championship. That was a crazy, crazy game. And, then we see Manual pull it out. And I want to talk about some of these regions that's paired up because these regions aren't going to be easy to come out of. These regions aren't going to be easy. And why I say easy is because some of the better teams in the state of Kentucky will be matching up first round. We just had Coach Mazon from Montgomery County, and he talks about the 10th region a little bit. And, it's not going to be easy on their end because not necessarily for Montgomery County, but for who we just had on the show recently, Coach Josh Cook out of GRC. Because once you get done talking about Montgomery County GRC, usually the best team that comes to your mind is Campbell County. They made the state tournament last year. Still got one of the better guards in the state. In Jackson. They got Austin Davey, one of the better freshmen in the state of Kentucky. Great player, 18-7 as a freshman, making an instant impact. They'll match up round 1, Campbell County versus GRC. So that's just something you've got to look at. Some of these teams are going to have to get sent home early. They're not going to be able to make these runs in region if they, someone's got to go out. And it sucks to say, and it sucks to think, but this is region. Best teams match up. It's win or go home. And you got to play the best to win. That's what everyone always says. You got to play the best teams, to get through the best. So I think that's going to be a lot of fun. 11th regions is coming out. Another game I wanted to hint on. Got the dates and schedules here. Frederick Douglass matches up with Madison Central. That's 2 of my personal favorite teams in the state of Kentucky, just because of the way they play, the way they're coached, some of the guys on their team. And we know how good the 11th region is, so we knew these guys were going to have to match up with each other. And that's a game Tuesday that's going to be a barn burner. That's one that everybody's going to want to see is Madison Central versus Frederick Douglass. Coming into the region, making these graphics for the show and talking, I made a little graphic, and I said that there were some teams that really, to me, were sleepers. They could make runs. They could be great. One of the first ones I wrote down was Madison Central. And because Madison Central led by Coach Feldhouse, one of the best to do it, and then Jake Feldhouse, one of the best players in the state of Kentucky, D1 guy, had a great season this year, 20-plus points, 10-plus rebounds, matched up great against all of his matchups, had great games against everybody he's played. But that's going to be a really fun game because I think Madison Central's playing their best basketball right now. And, I know Frederick Douglass is coming off the loss to Bryan Station. Douglass had won the first 3 matchups, and we always say it's hard to beat a good team 3 times. It's definitely not easy beating them 4 times. So it's kind of like you expected Bryan Station to get one of those wins during the season. It comes at the district, which, it sucks to lose the district, but now you kind of get to lock in on region and get ready for it. Madison Central won their district. They beat Berea and they beat Madison Southern. Berea will also be making the district, but they got to move on to play Frederick Douglass. That's not going to be an easy one. Madison Central's played tough competition, played a tough schedule, so they know what it means, to play up against a team like Frederick Douglass. They've matched up during the season, so, this isn't going to be the first matchup. Douglass got the best of them, 63-80. Jake Feldhouse had a great game, 35 points, 12 rebounds. So you think just another guy, more people step up, contribute to the scoring. They played Frederick Douglass. They scored 63 points, only hit 1 3-pointer on the night, only shot 6. So, it wasn't a great shooting night for Madison Central. They didn't get to show their whole offense because Coach Garvin and the Douglass defense is amazing. We all know that. So this is going to be a fun matchup. I think both coaches, they don't have the largest amount of time where they can kind of look back, look at the games, and kind of get ready. They play Tuesday, but they're still going to have enough time, to scout, get things ready, get their full reports out, get things going. And, this one's going to be a really good game. I really do think this is going to be a great matchup. I'm excited for it. For that being the 11th region first rounder, it just shows how good this region is. Madison Central, a 20-win team, Frederick Douglass, 23-4. Pretty consensus top 3 ranked team in the state of Kentucky. So that's going to be a fun one. Tuesday, I'm looking at Cal and Trinity out of the 7th region. We talked to Jaden earlier. Cal has one of the best scorers in the state of Kentucky, and Jaden Washington, who gets it done at a high clip, efficient level. They got some underrated guys. Man Robinson, Boogie Cook are 2 young freshmen who they're taking over. Man Robinson is a high major football kid, but he's a great basketball player as well. Boogie Cook has high potential. He continues to impress. He can do a little bit of everything. He's a great Swiss Army knife type guy. He continues to get better, continues to improve. So he's going to be a fun matchup, whoever he goes up against. It's not going to be easy. I think Trinity continues to get better as well. They continue to figure each other out more. They know who they are as a team more. Jaden kind of talked about how these guys are all kind of getting together, talking to each other. Trinity's riding, in their last 5 games, I think, in their last 6, they're 5-1. So Trinity's getting things going at the right time. They beat Atherton, beat Seneca, coming off a win against Montgomery County, was a foul call away from beating South Oldham, one of the higher ranked teams in the state. So that's good things, to add on to your resume. The 7th region is crazy. And, another game I got to talk about is Male and Manual matching up first round. According to RPI, those are the 2nd and 3rd best teams in, the 7th region. I don't strictly go off RPI all the time, for instance. So that's just something I got to look at. But, when you look at the RPI, those are the 2nd and 3rd best teams of the region matching up first round. I think talent-wise, you could very well hold the debate that either of those are the most talented team. No shot on St. X. You can obviously make the debate for them as well. But Manual and Male are great, man. They are great basketball programs, great teams. Coleman at Manual does a great job. Need to talk to him soon. He's someone we not out on here too. Malachi Coleman is a great guard. He's all about winning. And Justice Decker, continues to get better. There's been some times this year where Justice Decker plays against elite competition where he's not necessarily had his best performances, but I think he's going to step it up, and I think he's going to have a great region. I know he wants to make it, to Rupp Arena and play and support Manual. So I think that'll be a battle of a game. Fern Creek and Butler. Fern Creek played J-Town a lot better than I expected them to. Fern Creek can be a very sneaky good team at times, especially in the 6th. But drawing and matching up with the favorite in Butler round 1 is not going to be fun. So you got to talk about that. Those are some of Tuesday's best matchups. The 6th, the 7th, and 11th all start. But here's some of my sleeper teams I'm looking at. Talked to Coach Stennett last night. A lot of people know I'm a big Coach Stennett fan. And Fairdale's getting going at the right time. I don't think they've got a lot of the love they kind of deserve. I think they've had a much better season than many people, expected them to. Coming into the year, they were young. They were led by 3 sophomores, Kamari Roberts, Ferlendez Wright, Michael Ray Stennett. And you kind of knew that you wouldn't get their best basketball until the postseason. And that's kind of what we're seeing. They're 21-10 right now. They just lost in a battle to PRP, they're a play or 2 away from beating South Oldham. And, I think the loss to Cooper, which was kind of a smash mouth loss, they kind of punched them in the face. I think that's something they needed going into it because, that's a very, very good team. You're going to play teams who play similar to them. You're going to play some teams like, that has an Andy Johnson, that has a really good ball dominant guy who can really score, make things happen. I think they needed a loss like that or, just a reminder, hey, we're going to be seeing this again. And they will be. They'll be playing J-Town round 1, and that's not a draw for Fairdale I necessarily love just because I really thought Fairdale was a sleeper team that can make a deep run. I still think they very well can. That J-Town game can go anyway. I'm sure, there's going to be some times where one will have the lead, one won't have the lead. They'll be going at it. They didn't play in the regular season, which sucks. We didn't get to see them match up, so you can't really say too much on, seeing them go hand in hand. But J-Town definitely does some things better. I think they have more ball-dominant guys, more ball handlers, guys who can score, take it to the rim. Cameron McDaniel, since coming back to J-Town, has been phenomenal. Very well, you could say, is the best player in the 6th region when he's there. And if it's not him, it's very likely Prince Conplay, who is my 6th region player of the year, minis as well. He's having a great season. He's playing great. Day is back. This team's just playing really good basketball. So J-Town, Coach Duncan is winning games. So, you run into a J-Town team. Laron Westmoreland, a guy that's underrated. Breon Faulkner, great defender, high IQ guy. These are guys that, this is a really good J-Town team. So it sucks Fairdale has to match up with them too. But we also know how talented this Fairdale team is. Coach Stennett, great basketball coach, guys around him, that's good. They're going to be able to get it done. They're going to have their moments. They just got to be able to execute. Offense can't go stagnant, can't go slow. Newport, since getting Yamil Rondon, we kind of knew once you get that point guard back, it's a whole different world. Coach Mays talked about it tonight. Newport, they've won 3 in a row. They're starting to win big-time games. They got in a battle with Connor. They got in a battle with Covington Catholic. A lot of their losses, all of their recent losses, has been by a possession or 2. So they're playing teams at an elite level. They're playing teams better than anyone else, going up against them 1 or 2 possessions away from winning games. They just beat Highlands. They just beat Bellevue. They just beat Beechwood. They've got some big wins in the season. They battled St. X, by the way. They played St. X very, very good. They beat Walton Verona. They beat Boyd County. They beat Butler County. They beat Adair. But they do have those losses that are head scratching. But now you look with Yamil Rondon back, they're kind of like a new basketball team. And, that's what a good point guard will do. Yamil averaging 15 points a game for him, multiple assists, grabbing a few boards. He's that point guard you need on your team. He kind of turns this whole team up a notch. Griffin Starks, James Turner, we know how good those guys are, not only as interior threats, but they can score, they can put the basketball in the hoop. The low guys, the Monte, Ajante Lowe, those guys are great players. Those guys are instant impact guys who make plays, who do things the right way. They're very impressive basketball players. I know they play football as well. So they just got that toughness and integrity this whole Newport team does. And, they'll play Holy Cross Covington round 1. I would go Newport on that side. I would favor Newport. But no team in the 9th region wants to play Newport. Cooper, Lloyd Memorial, Covington Catholic, they don't want to match up with them because they got the height, they got the guard play. It's just keeping your head on straight, playing the best game you can, just having all cylinders hit at the right time. And even if that happens, you got to be able to face that adversity and make things happen when it's not really going your way. I think Newport, when they play their best, they most definitely can. They're a scary team to play. They're kind of my team out of the 9th that I think could be deadly. We talked about Madison Central. We talked about Trinity. We talked about Montgomery County. Caverna is a really good basketball program. And, I think they got some really good guys on that roster. The Martin twins, Russell Williams, Taven Maxey, Jalen Crane, one of the best players in the state of Kentucky. This is a good basketball team. They lost last night to Greene County, obviously, in that battle. Those are a little bit of a rival game. They always go into it, get at it. So we knew that would be a fun one. But obviously, the 5th region draw isn't out yet. We don't know the bracket. I think we will tomorrow. I think Coach Brees said tomorrow, the next day. So that'll be definitely a fun one to see. But Caverna's not really a team anyone really wants to match up with. We talked about how good that 5th region is, but they knock out a 20-win team, LaRue, to start the district. Like they just go out and do it first night, and they go on and they play that tough Greene County. They play with them. They compete with them. I think it was a little score than what the scorecard kind of shows, but Caverna can be really good. Crane can be a great leader, great point guard. Russell Williams knocks down tough shots better than anybody. Maxey is a great all-around guy who does stuff, and there's probably not two guys more physical in that region than the Martin twins. So that's not a team you want to match up with when they're going, when Coach Miles and Coach Rice are getting into it. They're getting happy. They're getting excited. They're pushing these guys to their best. It's not a team you want to play. So I think that's really going to scare off away a lot of 5th region teams. Whoever kind of draws them first, they're not going to get too comfortable. So I think that's definitely a good thing to see. Owensboro Catholic, talked about them. Can never really count out Coach Riley. He's just such a phenomenal basketball coach. They're led by D1 signee from Eastern Illinois, Luke Beichman, who's a great player. They're a little banged up. Some of the guys, have been going through a lot right now. But it's a really good basketball team. When Owensboro Catholic's offense is going, shots are falling, they're dagging them near unbeatable, especially in the 3rd region. But they really do like playing teams in the 40, 50-point range. They like to slow it down. They like to play them in those battles. That's kind of where they excel. And I think they'll give that to Grayson County. Grayson's got that high-speed, fast, half-court transition offense. It's not easy to beat, but if there's somebody who can slow it down, who's got the bodies and the skills and the mindset and just the X and O smarts, it's Tim Riley. So it's not really who I think Grayson wanted to play first. I don't think it's who OCATH wanted to play first. Remember, it's at OCATH's home court. It's at the Sports Center, so there's some advantages there. People will talk about that. I'm just looking at it at a game perspective. 94 feet, college gym. It's a whole different atmosphere. Guys play better there. So it's going to be a lot of fun to see. Catholic knows it very well. I think if Catholic shots fall, and they have every right in the world to be a favorite in the region. Still got to match up with Davis, Grayson, first round, obviously, and then maybe Butler County beats Davis first round. Davis, it's not going to be an easy toll to get out of the 3rd region no matter what, but I think Catholic has a chance to, either compete or make it happen. Let's talk about the top 10 teams in the state of Kentucky. I do this every week. This is presented by Detman Law Injury Lawyer. That's my guy, Brian Detman. St. X, Great Crossing. That's my top 2. Not changed all year, I don't think. I don't think it's changed. I know there were some times that Lloyd Memorial was getting votes over Great Crossing, and I like Lloyd Memorial a lot, man. They're a great basketball team, great guys. Coach Walker's my guy. EJ Walker, Blackhawk, great players. But I never really switched from Great Crossing at 2. Frederick Douglass at 3. Here's how I view it. Bryan Station beat them, yes, but I'm not going to let recency bias, get in my mind too much. Douglass had won the last 3 matchups. Garvin had their number. If they match up again, I still think Frederick Douglass beats them, beats them in a competition. It's going to be hard to see a matchup again because obviously with the way the bracket was, Bryan Station will have to win. Then they'll have to probably play Great Crossing. So that'll be a good game. That'll be a good battle in that 11th region. But I go Callaway County next. Callaway County has kind of owned Marshall County recently. They've kind of took over as the favorite in the first region. They had some good wins on their schedule and their resume earlier. They beat some really, really good basketball teams out of Tennessee. They beat Trinity Louisville, which I know people get mad, but that's still a good win in my opinion. They beat North Laura out of the 13th region. But, they took that loss to LaRue County. But besides that, their only loss was to Marshall County. They lost a battle to McCracken. But then you kind of look at, they have been dominant. They've not lost since the McCracken game. And in that stretch, they've beat Butler County. They've beat Marshall County twice. So they beat two of the better county schools in the state of Kentucky. Marshall County sits at 27-2. Callaway at 28-3, now having 2 wins over them, led by Jonah Butler and Eli Finley. Stephen Lane, Connor Lockhart, Coach Cleaver does a great job with these guys. It's just a hard team to beat, man, and I think they're getting really going at the right time. I think they got the talent. I think they got the coaching. They're my favorite to make it to Rupp out of the first. They got the resume right now, too. So they're going to go there, and they're going to slide in at 4 for me. Bryan Station at 5, just kind of explained it. Even when Bryan Station lost to Danville Christian, I never really went off the Bryan Station wagon. I still think Amari Owens is a phenomenal basketball player. He's always going to do his thing. He's always 99% of the time going to do his thing, and his guys around him, they continue to step up. Those guys continue to get more confident. They continue to play better. It's hard to beat Bryan Station, man, and I think Douglas seen that last night. It was a good game. I think Bryan Station played really well. Still got Bryan Station at 5. I think that's a really good place to have them. I think they've been top 5 all year for me. I don't really see them moving. Next up is Hazard. Hazard out of Eastern Kentucky. Some people still not seeing him. Some people still question how good is Hazard. I've got to see Hazard firsthand. They play really good basketball. They've got size. They've got shooters. Only 2 losses on the year. One's out of state to East Hall in Georgia, and then one's to Danville Christian. I think Danville Christian is one of those teams that just match up really well with Hazard. They kind of play against all their weaknesses. It's just hard for Danville Christian to get scored on, let alone get beat. We've seen that during the season. So, Hazard only scoring 29 against them in a battle. They bounce back really good. I really do think they bounce back great. They beat Breathitt County over in Eastern Kentucky, which is a good team to beat. They've beat Madison Central, who we talked about on this list. They beat Ashland Blazer. They beat Prestonburg. They beat Harlan County. So they beat those Eastern Kentucky teams. They beat more out of the 6th region. So they have wins. They have resume. They have guys. And Al Holland is a legendary KHSAA coach. So, Hazard's done everything to be here. I continue to stay. How can you not really be here with a 27-2 record? Obviously, Clinton County's not got the higher quality wins. Clinton County got in a battle with Hazard at the All-A, where Clinton County almost pulled it off. They lost 67-65. Another win for Hazard, against Greene County. They won 54-53. So, Hazard's a possession or 2 away from having 2 extra losses. But no, they've been great. They finished out those big-time games, and they've won. Seth Caudell, the free throw line is automatic. He's a great basketball player. Greene County, they're my favorite in the 5th region right now. I know we had Coach Breeze on tonight. I kind of go back and forth between Greene and Adair. They both do things so well. They both have guys at positions I like more. They're a fun team to kind of look back on. No bad loss on Greene County's resume. Their only losses are to Frederick Douglass, Hazard, and Male, all top 15 type teams, some higher than that. When Male's healthy, they're a top 10 team, Hazard just right there in front of them. And then Douglas sits at 3. So there's not a single battle loss on that schedule. They battled Hazard very, very well. They played Male pretty good. That just wasn't a very close game against Douglas, but that's just a hard game. Coach Gilbert has done a phenomenal job with this team. He's without a doubt one of the probably favorites for Coach of the Year. He's just been really, really good this year, man. This team's all around very good. Cooper Stone, a.k.a. the 4-year point guard vet, he just plays so experienced, man. He plays great basketball. Coach Breeze even talked about it. He's been the best freshman in that region, by far one of the best in the state. Jaden Marr, bucket getter, gets shots, very good inside the mid-range. Eric James Jr. is an athlete, probably one of the best athletes in the state of Kentucky. He's a very good player, makes a lot of impacts on the game. Even when he has a night against Caverna where he goes 1 for 10, he's still impacting the game in a lot of ways. Hayden Blakeman might be one of the best players to ever go through Greene County. I know he leads them in points. I think he's going to be leading them in rebounds. If they continue to make a run, he averages 18-8. Great player, going to be great at the next level. Does a little bit of everything. Great kind of Swiss Army knife guy. Doesn't really have a weakness in his game. It's just a really good basketball team, man. If they get to Rupp, they're going to be dangerous. They're not going to be a team anyone wants to play. They match up with the 4th region first round. That would be fun at the state tournament, seeing them go against each other. But right now, it feels like Greene County's the favorite. Adair would be next. DuPont Manual slides back in for me. I think I underrated DuPont Manual at times. With them getting that win at Mel, just kind of put them over the edge for me. And then, they obviously dominated their district in crazy fashion. But they ended the year with 2 really good wins against Butler, who slides in at my number 10. It slides in at my number 9 right behind Manual. They won a battle against them, and then they beat Mel. Manual looks really good right now. They don't really have any bad losses. They lost to Douglas, New Albany, Bryan Station, Trinity. Trinity loss was bad just because of the way they played. But besides that, there's really not a bad loss. They probably have deserved to stay in the top 10, 12 range all season with them being 25-5. Coach Coleman does a phenomenal job. Malachi Coleman's been great this year. Justice Decker was actually voted the 7th Region Player of the Year by the KABC. Noah Smith, bucket getter. Ahmad Shelton, great. Geoffrey, amazing player. This is just a really good team. They've got a bright future. They're going to continue to be great. Even when these seniors move on, DuPont Manual's still going to stay relevant, be a good team. But this is their year, man. It looks like to win the 7th, but you got to go through great. You got to go through St. X. You got to go through Mill. It's not going to be an easy journey there. They slide in about 8 spot. Louisville Butler at the 9. They're my favorites out of the 6th region right now. It's kind of them and J-Town for me. I go back and forth rankings-wise. I think Butler's got to be ahead of them right now. They got more quality wins. They got the better resume, so they got to be there for me. Coach Otis, Coach Geary, they do a phenomenal job up there, man. They're riding a 2-game win streak. They dominated their district. They lost that game to DuPont Manual, obviously. But before that, they had won about 10 straight, I think, besides their Trinity loss. Their losses are to all good teams, Manual, Trinity, South Oldham, which is an underrated team, too, Greene County. So there's no bad losses on their schedule. They got a very good resume to pair with their 24-4 record. They're 15-0 in the region. Great basketball team, man. Nobody really wants to run into them right now. They do things well. They score 71 points. Their highest scoring per game is 15 in Adrian Wilder. Just kind of shows how all around this team is. Santana Anderson, still one of the most underrated guards in the state, I think. He makes such a great impact. So shifty. Does a little bit of everything. Henrich Barhalo, another great player. Might not be pronouncing that right, but, man, I love him a lot. Love him as a player. Adrian Wilder, great shooter. I don't think he gets enough talk in those conversations for better shooters in the state of Kentucky. 44% from 44% from 3 as a player. He's hit 82 on the season. He's actually hit more 3s than 2s on the year, so that's always something pretty cool to look at. He's been great, man. He's been a very good player this year. I like what Butler has going for their future. I like how they're coached. Adrian Wilder's just a junior, so we're probably going to see a lot of this next year. They're a junior-heavy team. It's a really good basketball club. Danville Christian slides in at 10. Not really a lot to say about Danville. They got some good wins. They battled some really good teams. Gio Luke Anthony, great player. Lua Olai, I'm always going to pronounce their names wrong. That's on me. But they run a very good zone. Those guys, when you go into a 3-2 at times, matching up against them. I think Lexington Catholic kind of set the blueprint a little bit on how you can beat them, how you can play them, which I think a lot of teams will look at. But I still think they're the favorite, without a doubt, out of the 12th region. Mercer County would probably be the next up team to battle them. Trevor Ellis could have a really good night. They finished the year 26-3. No bad losses. Their losses are to Ashland Blazer, Lexington Catholic, and then Woodford County. Woodford County coming first game of the year. So they got into that battle with Bryan Station where they came out on top. I still think Bryan Station obviously wins that with Amari Owens, but this is a top 10 team. Their defense is just too elite. They do things right. They've kind of ran the 12th region this year. They've been really good, man, and I don't see them slowing down at all. I think they're going to dominate that region, punch their ticket to Rupp. Coach Sean Bussick does a great job. That's my top 10 teams, man. That's my top 10 teams. Talked about some of my sleeper teams. We've hit on things. We had a great guest list today. It's been a fun show. It's a Saturday night show. We don't do them too often, but it's been a really good show tonight. It's been a lot of fun. Thinking about doing another show tomorrow night. We'll have to see. Tomorrow night we'd have some more guests on. Done talk to a few behind the scenes I think would be really, really good to have on. And, we'll just talk basketball like we always do, Kentucky high school basketball. Tomorrow will probably be more of just a guest show, mainly because we talked about all the regions and things today, gave away the awards. So tomorrow will be probably more of just a guest show. I think we'll end up doing it. I think it'll be a lot of fun. I want to thank everybody for tuning in. First episode of March. It's March 1st. Start the month off early. Wake up. It's the first of the month. Great show. Really enjoyed today. Our sponsors for this next 5 weeks are Clark Agritech Applicator, Southbound Boutique and Stacy's on Main, Charity Hall Bingo, Grable Funeral Home, and Detman Law Injury Lawyer. And, man, we can never forget him. Our behind-the-scenes guy, the legend, the man himself, Ronald Scott Lindsay, Judge Executive of Emmons County, Kentucky, the man, one of the biggest supporters, might be our biggest supporter. So thank you, Ronald, for tuning into the show today. I know he's watching. I know he's showing support. Thank you to everybody who tuned into the show. We had a large amount of viewers tune in today, watch the show. So that's a lot of fun. It's always fun to get you all in here. It's always fun to talk high school basketball. And, the number one Kentucky high school basketball podcast in the state. Been called that by a lot of people, and I like to hold that title pretty highly because I think we do a great job. And it's going to be a lot of fun. Tomorrow we're going to have some good guests on again, more than likely. I'll keep you posted on social media if we have any more guests. For the guest that was on today, thank you for coming on. It was a lot of fun. We'll talk to them again probably before the season's over. And man, just keep tuning in, keep sharing, keep showing some love, keep supporting. We'll keep punching out good content. Appreciate all of our guests. God bless. Share the live. Share. You can still watch it whenever we're not live. Share it. Enjoy it. Thank you for tuning in. This has been Joseph Decker.